India and UK have strong relationship. There are a lot of things to be celebrated about. There might be certain concerns, which of course every good relationship has. With me is UK's Minister of State, Lord Tariq Ahmad. So welcome to WION and welcome to India as well. So you mentioned about India UK FTA. If you can give an update on the FTA. In fact, my office has sent a report saying that why the British side refusing to accept the plea of the Indian spirit makers in India to reduce the maturity age of whiskey. Is the government afraid of losing the Scottish brand? If you can just talk about this technical aspect regarding the FTA.
Well, first of all, the FTA is progressing well, and my colleague, Kemi Badenoch, who's the Trade Secretary, is engaged with Minister Goyal on important aspects of this. And you pose a very technical question on spirits, and you pose it to a teetotaler, someone who doesn't touch alcohol, so I can't say I declare an interest. What, though, is important for sectors and industries, but also companies on both sides, to be not just protected, but to be provided with opportunities to expand further, and that's the essence. And to sort of use a phrase, the spirit, if I may, of the FTA. So there will be details that our various officials are working on currently, but we're making good progress. Several chapters have progressed and been closed, and we remain hopeful on reaching an early agreement. It's important, the FTA, the framework that it sets across different sectors is an important sense of collaboration between our two countries, and it's a key deliverable of our partnership. But notwithstanding, whilst those negotiations continue, as I've already illustrated through the example of these entrepreneurs, and as I've seen already, at a time when we needed a friend, India stood with us. When India needed a friend, we stood with India, and that's how you define a true partnership and friendship.
How will you characterize India-UK relationship perhaps in this year, a year which has seen a lot of ups? Both the Prime Ministers met just last week in Hiroshima, but also downs as well, with the Indian High Commission being vandalized. So how will you characterize this relationship?
First of all, every friendship and partnership, indeed any relationship we have of humankind, is defined by good days and days which could have gone better. But the United Kingdom and India's relationship is in a very strong place, and that's demonstrable by the strong relationship, both professionally and personally, between our two prime ministers. You saw the strong sense and the communique that came out of the meeting they had. It wasn't just warm words, there were some very practical deliverables, and indeed both prime ministers stated their ambition to deliver upon what we were just talking about, the free trade agreement. You mentioned the issue of the attack on the High Commission, and that was deplorable. Let me be absolutely clear. We take the security of India, indeed the security of every mission in the United Kingdom, to the Court of St. James extremely seriously. It is our responsibility. I immediately visited your excellent High Commissioner in India, as did the Security Minister, Tom Tugendhat, to ensure that the response, indeed showing solidarity, but importantly the response that was needed, is stood up very quickly. And we have security provisions in place. We're also looking at added security structures within the framework of the diplomatic mission. But I assure you that the UK takes all these responsibilities very seriously, because these are very much the representatives of different governments on the soil of the UK, and we need to ensure they're fully protected.
In terms of the Khalistani extremism in UK, how much it is a concern for you? I mean, do you see it as a threat to the British society as well? And if yes, any actions being thought about by the British government?
Well, first and foremost, we need to really unpack this. Any form of extremism is a challenge. It's a challenge to the society in which it is being practiced. It's a challenge beyond, and it has ramifications. We've suffered, as has India, from the whole onset of extremism of different kind. But we've got to be very clear. First and foremost, there's often religion is associated with extremism. Never can be there more erroneous link established. There is no religion that justifies violent actions against another on the basis of difference of opinion. Let's be absolutely clear about that. I was a former minister for countering extremism in the United Kingdom, and we must tackle that extremist ideology, which then sometimes infiltrates vulnerable minds or communities, and address it head on. You mentioned about pro-Khalistan extremists. Any kind of extremists is to be condemned. There are, of course, laws and structures, and the law of allowing people the right to peaceful protest, to demonstrate a particular view or opinion is celebrated in any democracy. It's celebrated here in India, it's celebrated in the United Kingdom. But those who demonstrate a particular point of view, it may be contrarian to a particular country or a particular issue, must do so within the parameters of that law. That was overstepped. And we must ensure that there is no space for those who tout extremism. That extremism leads to division, it leads to discord, it leads to hatred, and worse. And yes, when you talk of extremism and those who challenge the very fabric of democracy, whether it's India and the United Kingdom, it's a common challenge we must face and address.